I was a little girl, about 11 years old, and I played the piano. I loved playing the piano. And I joined a small youth orchestra in this small local town, and we were practicing really hard for a performance. And I was looking forward to the rehearsal, and we were rehearsing a beautiful aria by Gluck. And we started playing. I had to play the intro, and suddenly something happened. We all became one with the music. I felt one with my instrument. And I felt wonderful. And yet at the same time, I completely forgot about myself. I lost track of time. And we were just enjoying the music. And after we finished, we were all silent for a couple minutes, and then we were just kids again. I believe this experience, which I now see as one of my first experiences of flow, it shaped my life. Later on, I had more experiences like this. I continued practicing the piano, because this experience gave me the motivation from within to just keep practicing. And other speakers have talked about similar experiences doing other things, like motorcycling. So every single one of you knows this experience of flow, but you may not be aware of it. It may be very short, maybe just be a couple seconds. So this experience of flow, it stayed with me. I did a lot of other things later in life, and I had this experience relating to other people, working in teams. But I kept asking myself this question: what is it that determines flow? I can feel it, I experience it, I read a couple books about it, but is there something that we can measure? Is there, I feel a change, it should be somewhere, where is it? And years later, it was about 10 years ago, through the internet, I found a woman. She was called Anna Weiss in the United States, and she had studied the brainwaves of a lot of people experiencing flow. She called it the high performance mind, which is just exactly the same thing. And she said the brainwaves of people, they change when they are in a high performance mind. So I was hooked. I went to see her, I studied with her, and I owe a lot to her. She's not here anymore to tell what she found out, and I'm very happy I can tell this story. And I just now feel a need to tell a little anecdote about Anna Weiss. She was very ill the last years of her life, and I went to visit her in California. She could barely move. She was in a wheelchair. She could not eat. She could barely talk. And the first 10 minutes, I was shocked about seeing her in such a condition. But after those 10 minutes were over, together we got into a bubble. I stayed with her a full day. And after the end of the day, I forgot. I had completely forgotten the condition she was in. I didn't see it anymore. And I asked her, "What do you do?" And she told me, "Annette, do you think I let my body rule my mind?" And that was her answer. Our minds can be ruled. We can be a master of our mind. And that was what she taught us. And of course, not all the time, but we can do things to get into this state of flow, to master ourselves. So she taught me about brainwaves, and I'm going to explain you a little bit about what brainwaves are and how they work. This looks like theory, it's not that bad. This is a brainwave graph. I will show the brainwaves in this way. So on the left and the right, you see the amplitude of the brainwaves on the left brain and the right brain. The brainwaves, they can be weak and they can be strong. So if you see it like this, it's a weak brainwave, and when you see it like that, it's a strong brainwave. And brainwaves have a frequency, and frequencies are cycles per second. So it can be a slow wave, which goes like this, or it can be a fast wave. The slow waves are on the bottom of the graph, and the fast waves are on the top of the graph. And brainwaves, by the way, they are electrical currents happening in our brains. And you all have them all the time, right now, I promise. There are several categories of brainwaves, and there are 4 I want to talk about. I want to tell you a little bit about them and what they mean. Beta brainwaves are the higher frequency brainwaves. Beta brainwaves we need for daily functioning. Beta brainwaves is our thinking. Beta brainwaves is anytime we use words, either in our minds or either talking. I do have a lot of beta brainwaves right now. With the beta brainwaves, they make a difference between the lower and the higher. In this picture, you see the lower frequency brainwaves. It's just about logic thinking, it's a cognitive function, it's what we need to get through school, basically. Here you see the low beta, and then there's the high beta. Thoughts do something with us. They can go crazy. We can't control them anymore. It's a chatter in your mind. It becomes judgmental. I can tell you, I had a lot of high beta in preparation for this talk. And with everything I wanted to tell you, I could not control it. So this is one other lesson to be learned. Of course, you can do a lot about your brainwaves, but life comes up with new lessons over and over again, and you have to keep practicing and learning new things. The next brainwaves, it's a special one, it's the alpha brainwave. The alpha brainwave, in a high amplitude, when it's strong, it makes you feel relaxed, and you start daydreaming, fantasizing. You may visualize things using your senses, and it feels different than the beta thinking brainwave. Then the theta brainwave, one more thing about the alpha brainwave. The alpha brainwave is the bridge between the conscious and the unconscious. When you're sleeping, you don't know what's happening. You're unconscious. Then there are no brainwaves above this line. If you have no beta, no alpha brainwaves, you're asleep. So it's a bridge between the higher and the lower brainwaves. The theta brainwaves are deep brainwaves, and most people only have them when they're dreaming. You can access them though. In the flow state or in a meditation state, you have these theta brainwaves. And how do they feel? To me, theta brainwaves are like a backpack that you carry, but the backpack is closed. And it's up to you if you want to open it or not. Because in this backpack, there could be good memories, bad memories, your creativity. It could be a novel that wants to be written. It could be anything in there, but you have to access it. It usually doesn't come up by itself. The delta brainwaves. Delta is the very low frequency. Delta is your radar. With delta, you sense what's going on around you. With delta, you can empathize with another person. If you feel what another person is feeling, you're using your delta. Let me explain these brainwaves, because it's a bit theoretical, on the piano. Beta, think about it as a thought, but a thought can be a music, just a melody. This is just some low beta thought. You know, a high beta thought, when your mind goes crazy, it's more like this. You know, you have no control over it. But it's only one melody. Then, when we hear a bass line, this is theta. In itself, it doesn't have a lot of meaning. And with some thoughts, it's still not very connected. Something is needed in between, and those are the chords of alpha. So here are the chords. This is a color. This gives color to the music. And now it feels more complete. Now, what is flow? What does flow look like if we talk about brainwaves? In flow, the special thing about this state is that we have all these categories of brainwaves at the same time in a certain relationship to each other. The thinking, the imagination, we have access to the subconscious, and our radar can be on. We can be sensitive to what's going on around us, and there's literally a flow between all these brainwaves, and we can also feel it in our bodies as a flow between the different parts of us. Now, what can we do to get there? There is a whole toolbox of things we can do, and I just want to tell you a few things. For example, beta, we all sometimes like to quiet our minds, and there's one thing that I want to give to you, which you can all try out, which very few people know about, but it's very valuable in getting to a deeper state or in a relaxed state or in a flow state. And I suggest we just try it all together. What you do is you relax your tongue. And it may sound silly, and it will look silly, so please, no cameras on the public, please. But let's just try it. So relax your tongue, relax your jaw, make yourself look very silly. I will do it with you. Wow, what a silence. I didn't hear a single thought. Did you? I don't know. So practice this at home to quiet your thought. The alpha happens in relaxation. But alpha can be helped by changing the amount of light that comes into our eyes. Closing your eyes is a very easy way to get the alpha going. And having a very dark environment, that's also another way to get more alpha. And then using all of your senses to get your alpha up. And the theta, once your beta is down, your alpha is there, you can access your theta. And with accessing your theta, I mean just trust that whatever comes up is okay. And just trust what's there and listen to it. Theta is about listening. I'm going to play a very little piece by Erik Satie, and you may try for yourself to change your brainwaves while listening to it. Relaxing your tongue, maybe closing your eyes. I invite you to do that. I believe we are more than we think. I believe together we are more than we think. And I feel that is something to think about. Thank you.